Hello, hello. Happy Tuesday. All right, let's get this. Let's get our working music going here. Intro over. Yo, yo, yo. How's it going, y'all? A new week, same problems. Let's get going. I know I'm a little earlier than normal, but you know, this is actually when I should be streaming. It's funny how when you're late so often that being on time feels early. All right, let's get everything booted up here. I had a nice weekend. I didn't work on very much. I did some work on Monday, last night. We'll talk about it. I've already had my coffee, and yet here I go. Just yawning up a storm here. So we're trying to get to this point. Hey, Mr. Magoo. What's up with you? Uh-oh. All right. Well, whatever I did last night broke everything. So that's fun. Huh. What did I do? What did I do? Oh, there is something I want to change back. I changed it and now I have regrets. Sitting on the page always works. Yeah, you are on here. You're on here. Watch streak reached 3-stream streak. Restarted. Aw. Yeah, I was missing you when I first came back from my Christmas break here. I was like, oh no, where's Mr. Magoo? You're sifting through thousands of raw, unreadable assembly instructions. Oh my lord. No way. Not for me. Should this just be like an expression body? Yeah, why not? Not what I want to do here, really. How am I? I'm all right. All right. Thanks. Just grinding, you know? My goal is pretty much to work about 60 hours a week. And I've been getting close. Not during the holidays, obviously, but, you know, we're just grinding. I do about 35 or so hours a week at my day job, and I try to do around 24-ish hours on the game. So, you know, we're just trying to grind it out. Just trying to keep steady, you know. It's a marathon. All right. I started committing a horrible sin yesterday where I was like, you know what? I want to be able to change my inputs that I record after the fact. And I realize now that that's a horrible mistake, so I'm reverting it back. However, I'm not quite sure what I changed that, not sure what I changed last night that is causing this problem here. Block.face.x. No. Huh. People could gift subs to the music bot. Lol. Oh, that's so funny. That's such a stupid thing to do. But that's funny that they allow that technically. I would not recommend. That's funny that you noticed that, though. I like our music bot when it works, you know. If you're going to gift a sub to a bot, so you gift it to our chat bot. Helper 9000. I'm just kidding, don't do that. However, way over in the bottom left corner, there is a link to my Ko-Fi. That's not directed at you, Mr. Magoo. You support the channel plenty. This is for people in the VODs. Or, you know, people who are live here and feel like it. I don't have a lot on there. I should probably add some support to my Ko-Fi. But it's currently the only way to get TTS on the channel. Which is a poorly kept secret. Alright, what did I do that broke everything? Classic. Hey, Nix. How's it going? Happy Tuesday. Thanks for the hydrate, Nix. I do have water today, so we'll drink water. How are you doing, Nix? All right, so the thing that we're doing now is we're implementing our fake raycast. Which I guess I'll use my diagram. Our fake raycast is like, so we've got this tile map layer, you know, down at the bottom of the screen, quote unquote. And it detects what tile your cursor's in, and it detects what side of the tile your cursor's on. Then depending on that, it sets a quote unquote handedness of the raycast here. So a left-handed raycast would then start to check. It's actually a reverse raycast because it's casting from the back towards the camera, and it will start block checking and recording the face. So it'll check the block that's on top of that tile that we hit. For handedness, it would record the Y face as well. And then it goes to the next, and the next, and the next. And it does that. It iterates that spiral until we reach the end of the block space. The right-handed one does the same, but just with the opposite handedness. So it checks the X before the Y. So it goes X, Y, Z, and we just spiral up and we figure out all the blocks. At the moment, we're just going to pop off whatever's on top. But I want to add stuff for like scroll wheel, like depth checking. BRB, no worries. Thanks, Magoo. Thanks for the lurk. Appreciate it. I think everyone was caught off guard by my on-time start today. I gotta end a little early, which is probably why I'm actually on time. How's everyone doing today? I'm getting kind of tired of this auto build. I don't know how to change this. I mean, I guess it's kind of helpful, but I'm getting annoyed by it. I'll have to look up how to change that. So I did something when I was working, and now this doesn't function anymore. Concern. What did I do? What did I do, Nix? I mean, it's okay that it doesn't work. I just want to understand what I did, you know? I don't think I broke it during our stream. I feel like I must have broken it yesterday. Is there a reason this can't be block.face? I don't think so. Oh, there's a while loop. Maybe we're getting caught in the while loop. That's probably what's happening. So if I just don't run this system, we're probably okay, right? Kind of neat that we don't freeze even though we're caught in an infinite loop. Thanks, tasks. Yeah, there it is. Okay. All right. Crisis avoided. But yeah, so we want like our little raycast so that we can tell where we are in the block instead of having to do it manually, right? So when I go up this hump here at the edge of this wall, I can just pop. And if I go back down, it should go back down. At least when I'm building stuff. This is what we're trying to achieve, right? We'll also need some kind of hint that tells it which way to go. So like if my cursor's here on this face, it should pop out and put the block like this. But if I'm in here, it should pop up and put the block above. So there's a bunch of stuff we'll have to consider. We don't have to consider it now because we haven't finished it, but it's a bunch of stuff we'll be considering. Oh, see, I did that wrong. It's going to be really helpful to have this. It's going to essentially force us to always expand the block from an existing point. The auto tiler seems to be working just fine, though. Yeah. So we're working on that. And there's some ancillary stuff to take care of as part of that. Quiet this morning, huh? There's some stuff we're going to be changing around the game input. We've been recording inputs in like an input history. We're going to stop doing that because I'm realizing, well, we were doing this thing, which I thought was clever at the time, which was that when we do an input that has a mouse coordinate associated with it, we record the coordinate in the input. But the problem is we now need to, if we're switching to this raycast system, we need to actually have the proper like block that this coordinate thing refers to. And which is why I temporarily was like, well, we could just modify this and substitute in the processed, you know, block or coordinate or whatever. And I'm like, oh, that sucks. I don't want to do that. We could do it. I just don't want to. So I think we're going to stop passing through coordinates when we do this sort of thing. And I think we're just going to set a coordinate at the top of the frame, and that coordinate will be used for whatever inputs get processed during that frame, which is fine. And it's actually better. It's not as big a deal as I thought it would be, because there's this thing where you accumulate input, which I didn't realize, which is on by default. Let me see if I can find this. Accumulated input. Use accumulated input. So if this is on, which is on by default, then it's, if true, similar input events sent by the operating system are accumulated. All input events generated during a frame will be merged and emitted when the frame is done rendering. So that's neat. Therefore, this limits the number of input methods calls per second, the rendering FPS. We handle things in the physics process, so this is still a little concerning because it means we could have multiple frames of input come in. But it does make me less concerned about receiving tons of input on a given frame. So I'm less concerned about actually passing in the coordinates with the input and rather just kind of set it up initially. So we're going to switch to doing something like that, which we're already doing. Oh, we need a thing here. We need some way of detecting whether the cursor is in the game window or not. I was running into a problem with that, where we were passing an input even when we weren't over the game window. I'm not going to worry about that right now. Yeah, right now we just pass in the coordinates as part of the input, which we just don't want to do. did I change? Oh, I got rid of the debug. So that'll require some unraveling, but we don't have to worry about it right now. We can continue on for a time here. But we will head in that direction soon. I don't know what I'm doing. Oh yeah, so we're writing out this cursor mapping system. So I think I figured out the basics of how I want this to work. We're gonna keep track of the hit list in the system. We might eventually offload this to that game input singleton. But for right now, we're just it's gonna just live in the system. And we keep track of a left-handed and a right-handed list. This is the shape of the spiral. So if it's a left-handed spiral, it goes Y, X, Z, which you can see. When I go here, you can see since the x-axis is this way, the y-axis is this way, and the z-axis is this way, right? You can kind of see that in our now here, right? So when we do a left-hand spiral, we check the coordinate, the initial coordinate check, then we add y, then we add x, then we add z, and then we execute that spiral. I guess I would consider that a counterclockwise spiral. And then for the right-handed one, for the right-handed input, it goes the other way. It's a clockwise spiral from our perspective, right? I'm calling it left and right-handed. Clockwise and counterclockwise would probably be better, but, you know, I'm not going to do that. This is good enough. Oh, excuse me. I don't know why I'm so tired. Whew. Thanks for a hydrate, the amp. How's it going? Happy Tuesday. You're good. You're tired too. Fair. All right, so clear the hit list. We grab the coordinates. The XY is the actual like tile that we're on, and then the ZW is like the coordinates within the tile. Just wanted to check in. Yeah, no worries. Take it easy. Appreciate popping in here. And then so we established this array, which is the handedness, which is just a reference to these. One of these. I wanted to do this because I didn't want to recreate the loop two different ways. I would rather just hop in here and just substitute the spiraling order. I should probably call this counterclockwise spiral or something like that. This handedness is like a weird. We could call this like counterclockwise. Clockwise. This like the spiral pattern or something. Okay, that is a little more self-documenting than just handedness, which doesn't really matter. So either way, we pick our spiral pattern after this initial check. And then we kind of just work our way through. We just spiral up until we hit some kind of limit. And that's how we build our list. So the initial check is pretty easy. What we do need is we need to grab the block coordinates and stuff. So we need to say variable block tags equals new buffer 3D read only of block tags. We're going to get it from, game.world.get component. We need a block tags buffer 3D, and we're getting it from game.block editor system group dot settled blocks. I guess this is actually a game.state. No, it's game.peak state. We need to pick the game state. If it's game.state.edit. Hey, Rhiannon Journey. How's it going? And if it's not, then we are going to throw a new not implemented exception. This way this system can run whether we're in the edit state or play state. And it will just look at different block groupings. How's everyone doing this morning? Or whatever time it is for you. Still technically morning for me. Doesn't feel like it though. You're doing okay? You were very tired yesterday and today. Yeah, I'm tired too. I think I stayed up too late last night. I have game dev co-working on Monday nights. I was having too much fun. Hang out a little too late. I need to be a little more disciplined about that. Because it's a new year. We got to settle in. It's time to settle into our routines here. I was saying my goal is to be, working 60 hours a week or so. The majority of which I work at my day job, but that I still need 20 plus hours working on the game here. And that is going to require discipline. That is going to require time management skills, which I'm not the best at. All right, so we got our block tags. We need to do... We could say something like if block tags cursor chords, well, cursor chords. Oh, you know what I noticed? I noticed something recently, which is very good, and I didn't notice it before, but you can see it in the example that I run here, even just with this example. You know, we had this old problem. Do I have the whole exploration thing up? No, I don't. We used to have this problem where each block would kind of block. Each block would like obstruct 3 blocks in front of it because they were so tall. There was just such a visibility issue. You know, we don't have that anymore. Because now each block is tiny. And each block actually only, we're back to like isometric style, where each block really just blocks 1 block in front of it. Super good. That is accidentally amazing for us. Solves a lot of problems. Yet another advantage of doing it this way. Do we care if there is a cutaway for this purpose? No, for this purpose, we're just going straight through. I think. It's actually a good question. No, for this purpose, we don't care about cutaways. So we'll say cursor hit list.add. We'll say cursor towards. Actually, it needs to be cursor towards. The handedness matters. The handedness matters. There's probably a tongue twister in there about blocks blocking blocks. Yeah, it gets pretty bad. My partner makes those jokes. She'll be like, if I hear the word chunk one more time, it's a problem. All right, so do I want to just define this early? Probably. You can say variable counterclockwise. You say bool. Do this here. We need to add a vector 4i. And we'll pass in cursor coords and actually, I want to define the spiral pattern first, huh? Oh, maybe we don't need counterclockwise. Yeah, we don't actually. Don't need to define a bool for that. Just do this. And we just do spiral pattern 0. Well, hold on. It's not that simple, is it? Yeah. Okay, maybe it is. Maybe we do need to do this. Counterclockwise. So it would be counterclockwise. Rhiannon Journey, if I go missing, you'll know it's because I got chunked. Yeah. Nix, fun fact, the Bethesda support only wrote back to you now. Oh yeah, you were having that issue with your subscription to Fallout. Rhiannon Journey, it'll be interesting to see how much programming stuff partners pick up on just hearing it all the time. Yeah. My partner actually had to do make some Unity games as part of their graduate studies last year. It was funny. I tried to help. I was already like kind of rusty on Unity, clearly, but it was fun. All right, so counterclockwise. If it is counterclockwise, then what we want to do is we want to say block.face.y. Otherwise, it's block.face.x. What's the problem with this vector 4i? Oh, does this not store vector 4? Yeah, it does. One moment. There we go. Weird that my audio stopped working there. My computer does this thing where all of my USB devices stop working momentarily. My camera seems to have continued working. Concerning. Everything seems to be okay, though. Nix, yeah, you had the issue of them borrowing 200 USD from you. Yeah, there's the number of times that, you know, you'll have a subscription that you forget about. It's always concerning. Nix, you helped your old school friend with their exam where they needed to make a game. They made the artwork. You made a very basic prop hunt. Nice. It was about 7 or 8 years ago. I'm playing Fallout 76 for almost 2 straight days now. How is that? I admit, I wanted to play Fallout when after I watched season 1 of the Fallout show. And then I very quickly realized I actually didn't want to play Fallout. I should have played the original Fallout is what I should have done. But I was looking at like the newer ones. I was looking at like Fallout 3 and 4 and like New Vegas. And I was like, I actually don't want to play these. But I should have played Fallout 1 is what I should have done. As a student of isometric, I should have played it. Record struck name is not valid at this point. Why? Oh, I need to say new. I'm dumb. Getting my GD script on. Cast this to an int, I guess. Okay. I guess what we cast is these. I want to keep track. We need to keep track of the face that we're hitting as well, essentially. All right. Okay. All of that's fine then. Let's do this then. This is easier. All right, all we're doing is building a list of all the cursors between, or all cursors, all the blocks between the camera and the input backstop where the cursor is. And we're doing it back to front. So we've done it there. This is surprisingly simple. This is neat. We do need to update cursor coords as we go along very clearly. Very clearly this needs to happen. Also, why is this a member variable? I think it was because I wanted to reduce the number of times the system ran. But at the moment, we're running it every time, so I feel like we could not do it this way. Let's just do it. Oh, Lord. Do it like this for now until I feel like it needs to be a member variable. All right, now we're gonna keep going. So this is kind of neat. We have a while case that just checks to see if we've reached a boundary. And in my opinion, the easiest way to do that is to try to clamp the coordinate. And if the coordinate is unchanged after clamping, then it's within the space. But if it is changed by the clamp, then you know that you've reached some kind of boundary or exceeded a boundary. Kind of a neat way to do that. Nix, according to the new Fallout 76 update, Burning Springs, Vegas, Ohio, Pittsburgh, and West Virginia is next to each other. Or at least very close by. Ohio being right next to West Virginia. That's tough. In the map, I guess they're close by ish. Yeah, it's ish. It's ish. They did that in Watch Dogs or whatever, which takes place in San Francisco, and they actually implemented all the like not all the neighborhoods, but they implemented a number of neighborhoods, and it's fun. But they got rid of all the interstitial neighborhoods, so it's like you're like, wait, how did I end up here? It's kind of fun. That always happens in a game, but that's kind of funny still. Danger of basing your game map on the real world, I guess. All right, so now we just got to do this same check, huh? So we do this. We just need to update cursor coords. We'll say cursor coords plus spiral pattern index. We'll say cursor coords plus equals spiral pattern index. The fact that this reference doesn't change in the while loop makes me think it's okay. Block tags, cursor coords has, block tags.hull, cursor hit list add, cursor coords with. You know what I kind of want? I kind of want a way to get the block face from the coordinate rather than having it like this hard-coded. Kind of would like to be able to have like a lookup. Is that reasonable? Can I have like a get face function? Hey, Nanigans, how's it going? So what if I had like a public enum, no, public face get face. Vector 3i. Boards. Oh, I should say something like direction. DI block cannot have non-static. Oh, of course this is static. You could just have like a switch. Return, direction, switch. How do I write these? I always forget how to write switch expressions. Here we go. You could have vector 3i dot x. It will be like, oops, case vector 3i dot x. I don't totally love the way that I've done this, but this is fine. I'm going to look at one of my switch expressions. Generally never... Okay, I don't need to write case or anything. They're all block expressions. You just say base.x. Constant value is expected. Ah. It's not really going to work, is it? Ah, we can't do this. Right. I could define a conversion. Maybe. Is that insane? I don't really want to do it there. And again, it's not too bad. I'll forget about this for now. We'll just leave it like this. It's not that hard to convert. You're tired and sore. You had to shovel out a 1 foot tall compacted snowbank from the end of your driveway at 6 a.m. Oof. Took 45 minutes to clear it out. Keeping torn whether you want to make your primary development focus on working on your game or working on D&D tools. That's tough. That's tough. Right now the goal is the game, but you keep getting pulled into stuff you have ideas for D&D tools that either don't exist or you think you could pull off better than what is currently there. Are these tools you have a need to use, or are you just like, let me expand the toolbox of things that we could do? Because I would say if you have a driving need for those tools in your own campaign or whatever, that's a good reason. But if you're just like, I don't see this tool, unless you think you could sell the tool and you want to get into being a D&D tool developer, I know remote live plays are huge ever since the pandemic. Like everyone's playing D&D with their friends over like Roll20 or Discord or whatever. I tried that with my group. We did not enjoy it. Maybe if my group had started out that way, it would be one thing, but my group was so used to sitting together in like a room and playing together for like 6 to 8 hours or whatever. We'd been so used to the ritual of doing it in person that we just didn't survive the transition to playing virtually. And now I just don't have the time for D&D. I would love to play D&D again. These are tools that would make the stuff you want to do for making campaigns a lot easier and more enjoyable. I think that's a great motivation then. You're running it like a campaign now, I presume, yeah? All right, so this should work. This should give us our like block that we're hitting. What it doesn't do is it doesn't provide a mechanism for scrolling into and out of the hit list. That's like a different... That's like the next step of this is like rather than rebuilding the hit list, sometimes all you're going to be doing is scrolling into and out of it to like hit blocks that are further down. But I would call that step 2. Vanskovich 01, thank you for the follow. I appreciate that. Welcome in. Hope you're having a nice Tuesday here. I think what we should do is, since we don't have the cutaway system working right now anyway, we should probably just hook this in and hook in this whatever's at the top of the cursor hit list, which I think I can access just by saying something like cursor hit list 1. So we'd say like top equals I can also say -1. I don't know what the difference is if I'm being super honest. The index, I don't know what this index thing is, but I think it looks cooler. So I've been doing that. I feel like I could just say -1 though. Nanigans, you play in person and you just project digital maps you've made onto a table using a projector. Now that's what I'm talking about. That's really cool. How long until you build a custom gaming table that has like a like an LCD TV like built into the bottom of it? No, the projector actually sounds way smarter. That's really clever. To have like a projector that like faces down onto the table. I assume that's what you're doing. Using projector to play D&D is a really smart idea. Yeah, Nex, I agree. That's pretty neat. Yeah, I miss that. I miss D&D. My group was very dysfunctional and we almost never finished a campaign, but man, it was fun to play. All right, so we got our hit list. In theory. You know, I see some complications that will arise when we're actually in the middle of doing some kind of action, but yeah, let's do this. So now we need to unhook a bunch of stuff in the block sculpting system. Because at the moment, the block sculpting system gets its coordinates directly from the input handler, and that we need to, like, stop. That we need to prevent. All right. Nanigans, your quote-unquote custom gaming table is just a cheap thing made of white foam board that you made for $5. Dimensions match the projector screen perfectly. It's nothing fancy, but it works for you. That's the best. That's the best. Can't do better than that. Rhiannon Journey, you got into making modular dungeon tiles for a long time. You have a bunch of paper, foam, cardboard-based ones, and then you moved to 3D printing. They were cool, but a pain to set up. A projector would have been so much easier. Yeah, it's neat. I made a little Unity project that was just like a digital map revealer thing. Like all I did was I added like a grid-based like fog of war thing so that I could reveal maps like gradually, tile by tile. That's all I did, and that was like a huge help when we were playing digitally. I'm sure I could have put so many more hours into building like a digital D&D tabletop thing, but I was like, at this point, this is becoming like a thing. that I should. It was becoming like a put up or shut up kind of moment. And I was like, I'm gonna shut up. I'm not trying to make a whole Roll20 alternative. All right, we're heading into ads. Hold on to your ads, everybody. And by everybody, I mean everyone on Twitch. No ads on YouTube. So everyone on YouTube, we're going to keep cooking here. So we used to pass in the cursor coordinates directly. Let me see if I fixed our infinite looping problem here. If I uncomment this, do we get errors? Do we get like massive runtime errors? No, but we do get stuck in... Am I not actually incrementing the cursor coordinates thing? Cursor chords plus spiral pattern index. Cursor chords plus equals. Everyone's having a nice day today. You 3D printed and painted some minis for your players for Christmas? Oh yeah, you mentioned that. That's very cute. Okay, none of this is happening. Not getting any debug right line, which is concerning. Oh, why does this say equals? This should say... Oh, yeah, that's correct. While cursor chords plus spiral pattern index equals block.space.maximum.clamp, cursor chords plus spiral pattern index. Index equals index plus 1. Index plus 1 equals index plus 1, otherwise 0. Cursor chords plus equals... That's fine. I don't need to say anything else here, I don't think. Why is this not doing anything? It's the first time in a month that all the streamers you watch in a day have been streaming. Nice. Nice. Yeah, we're back to normal. The holidays are over. Time to get our shit together, you know? You'll toss a photo of the minis on Discord. You're not an expert mini painter. Before that, you were just using tokens printed on paper pretty much. No, that's a huge improvement. We had a lot of fun. I think we got the Hero mini printer at one point. Not the printer, but like we bought some minis for our characters. And it was one of those services where you could like... You couldn't model it, but you could pick out all the little modular little pieces you wanted to add. All right, so why is this not happening? And cursor mapping system is new. Block editor system group. Input.tools.count is greater than 0. Game.cursor mapping system.run. So we never get into this while loop for some reason. Cursor chords plus spiral pattern index is equal to block.space.maximum.clamp. I guess I have to check to see what the block space maximum is. Oh, not what I want to do. Maximum is 63, 63, 63. That is correct. So what's up? So what is up with that? Hero Forge, that's it. You know it. Brianna Journey knows it. All right. So why isn't this running? Are we at least running the system? Oh, wait. Never mind. Maybe we were running. I was on the build output. I keep forgetting it switches me to the build output. All right, let's keep track of the cursor chords as they change. Because something, I think, is keeping us from breaking out of the while statement. Which is perplexing. A little bit. Let's see what happens here. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Okay. What the heck is going on here? All right, instead, let's see what this does. Unlimited power. Okay, so this also just goes on infinitely. Well, how? Space maximum clamp. Oh, I'm passing in bounds? I don't want to pass in bounds. What? Oh, I need to pass in. If it's only one parameter, it takes this as a bounding box. That should be fine though. Whatever. We'll try the alternative. We'll do it with a vector 3.0. That might be a sign that that function is not working correctly. Because a bounding box that's just being given one set of coordinates should just be a single point. Like the behavior should be the same. The fact that it's not is a little concerning. All right, this should we should now. Yeah, that's what I thought. Wait. Now what's happening? 0 cannot be greater than negative 21. What? Let me look at that. Give me my debug back. Okay, I don't get to look at my debug. 63, 63, 63. Min, max, negative 21. How? Cursor mapping system. Cursor chords. Oh. Right. This is that whole we're capturing input from like outside. So what do I want to do here? I think for now we're just going to lock it. We're just going to say math dot min. Well, no, we'll say vector 3i dot min. This, or vector 2i dot min. This and vector 2i dot 0. So we'll lock it to 0 because yeah, that is definitely a problem. Should be fine now. You use Titan Forge, same concept, but you pay for the pieces you use and own it indefinitely. Oh, nice, nice, nice. All right, now what's happening? Cursor map. Okay. Oh, min. I need to say max. Mox. Didn't actually solve the problem. All right, here we go. We're cooking. This should achieve the effect I want too of like if your cursor's way over here in the editor, it'll just lock your cursor input to right here. When you're editing at least, which is what we want. And then we'll need to come up with a logic that like is able to figure out where the offset should be. This is kind of like, I like how this has kind of ended up like 3D printing. I know you can do multiple layers at a time, but still, it's like kind of funny how that worked out. We're gonna have to do something about being able to select or modify like boundaries, like bounds, like volumes, but I'm not gonna think about that right now. Hope everyone's having a nice Tuesday. If you're trying to be productive, I hope you're succeeding. If you're just kind of hanging, I hope it's a peaceable hang here. Yeah, okay, so we have to clamp that somehow. Okay, so we've got our stuff here. So what happens if the cursor hit list is empty? Where should I define that? I'm torn between making this list accessible versus having you, like, I don't know. Maybe you go through the game.input thing and then that hooks into the system. I don't know. We'll have to figure that out. But what we need to do now is we need to start changing the sculpting system. This is going to be broken for a bit, but it's fine. Even if it's broken for the remainder of the stream, I've got another co-working event tonight. Oh, we'll work on this then. We're getting to the point where it's time to like rip out the old systems that we've left in place. Because I've built this new system like on top of everything else, or maybe in parallel with everything else. And I think the utility of having done that is expired here. All right, so what we need to do here, so we grab our command. We parse the command, the arguments of the command. The ones that set the coordinates, we need to search for coords, usages of coords here, which there are many. These ones, the ones that involve parsing the next step of the command, we're getting rid of all this stuff. We're getting rid of this idea of the cursor bounds and the cursor coords. I'm sure everybody uses this, which is a bit concerning. Usages across at the moment, none of the new systems, so that's good, except the block sculpting system and the block cutaway system. Block cutaway system doesn't run right now, so that's okay. So we just gotta fix this. So the cursor bounds is interesting. I'm not actually quite sure what to do to substitute that one. You know, what we could do is we could leave these here for the moment, but what we need to do... Who uses this projection would be my question. Just the tool system. So it looks like it's assigned and never got. Okay, that's good. Love to see it. Active block tag. What do we use this for? Much of that stuff. All right. This is the part I don't love, which is when I have to untangle some legacy code here. So we pass these coordinates in all the time. So I think what we should actually do right now so it matters whether we're building blocks versus we're just selecting blocks. If we're just selecting stuff, you want to select the block, right? You want to so select will behave differently than place, because when you're placing blocks, you don't want to just know what block the cursor is on. You want to know what empty space is adjacent to it that you're clearly trying to build off of. And what we can do is we can just lock it to that cursor thing right now, I think. Will that work? So I'm concerned about one specific case, which is this case. Please don't crash. So when we just have this, the cursor should look like this. It should be like, oh, you want to place a block on top of this plane that you made, this like platform. But that's not really what's going to happen. I don't think. Based on this. Because this is hard-coded, right? So if we're here, then our little spiraling thing will get us to here. Oh, dut. Actually, this will totally work, because if we look at our cursor tile priority thing, whether it's left or right-handed doesn't really matter, because what we're looking at is priority 2. The priority 2 block, so if you go 4, 3, 2, that's the block that you want to place a block on top of. So that's actually going to totally work. So we can just rely on the face that's returned from the cursor tile priority thing. Sick. Okay, that's excellent. So that's what it's really about, is projecting the coordinate up from that point. So let's start with the hover. Let's kind of ignore all of the other cases for now, maybe. Well, maybe not. Maybe hover and place I'm kind of interested in. So what we do right now is we parse out the tile coordinates that are included in the command, which we're not going to do anymore. We cast the coordinate into absolute space. There. We do some stuff with the game input globals, which we don't really care about at this juncture. We look to see if we have a block tag or if we have something in the clipboard. Reveal all the blocks. We ask if the bounding box contains it. Well, we can stop doing this stuff, which is nice. Some of these bounds checks. Well, maybe not. Maybe we still need to do the bounds checks. This is a vector 3. So do I want to just for now have like a... What if we just have something you can access, which is like public vector 3 3i, and it's like cursored block or something like that. And then that's like, we get that by saying, we can say cursor hit list dot length is greater than 0. Is length the wrong thing? Size? Count? Why does every single data structure need to have a different word for the length of the of the thing? Insane. This can be read only. Excellent. So if it is greater than 0, we can just say cursor hit list. We can just get whatever's at the top of the array for now. And if it's not, then what we're going to do is we're just going to return vector3i.0. .xyz. So that's how we can set the cursor block. Do we want something like a nearest neighbor? We want like a nearest neighbor block. I don't know if I want to have this defined here, but we could say something like cursor, well, cursor, we can't say cursor block. We would be doing the same thing as this, huh? It would be like this, and it would be like it would be cursored hit list dot w be cursored block. This is dumb. I don't think we want to do it this way, but I'm just writing it out so I can think about it. So we'd want the cursored block plus whatever its W component is converted to a block face. Dot XYZ. Oh, that is already a vector 3. So what's wrong with this? Oh no, it can't be a face. It would be, oh, this sucks. I need a way of converting the face thing. I need to go back. I know I said we didn't have to do this now, but I need a way to do this. I need a way to convert this. Can I make like a static hash map or something? Actually, it could just be an array, couldn't it? Public static. Let's see if it lets me do this. Well, it would need to be vector 3i dot 0, vector 3i dot x, vector 3i dot y, vector 3i dot z. Cannot initialize. The type is not. What? Oh. Okay. So if I have it like this. This is awkward, but we're gonna do things the awkward way. And then what we could have is we could have a public static vector 3i called get face. And you could pass in a face, and you would just get faces. Actually, this could be called get coords. It could just be faces, face to an int. There we go. So I just want an easy way to actually get the vector from the... I want to be able to store it as an enum, because then I can just store it as the W component of another vector 3, of a vector 4. But I need to be able to just easily get these. What are you complaining about now? Field can be made on read-only? Sure. It's kind of awkward, but this should work. It should work just fine. Hey, Sapphire. You're here now. Glad you made it to the stream today. You started streaming early. I argue that I started streaming on time. The problem is that I am usually late. On a work day, I really need to get started, around 10:30. But how are you doing? On a day off, on like a Saturday or whatever, I don't usually start till like 11:30. But yeah, I'm bad. I've made my late time my regular time, and so now my regular time feels early. Problem. It's a problem. All right, so can I do this less awkwardly now? Where the nearest neighbor is like, it'd be the cursored block plus block dot get towards block face should I let them just do it raw without the conversion? I kind of want to force the conversion so I know what they're doing, but I don't strictly need that. Okay, I don't think I want to do it this way. I think what I'll do is I'll put the logic at the top of the... No, I'll put it in the switch statement for now. Yeah, I don't know. Let's just do it somewhere, and then I can worry about where later. Sapphire, you're doing all right today. You're now on season 4 of Babylon 5. You are... This takes me back to my summer of Babylon 5, where I think I watched the whole show. My friend lent me the box set, and I watched the whole show one summer when I was in like middle school or high school. It was right at the edge. I was either in like 8th or 9th grade or something. So good. Things have gotten really interesting. Yeah, that's true. You don't think you'll be able to rewatch it quite the same way. You have the complete series DVDs arriving tomorrow as well? Hell yeah, I have those. Pretty much all day Sunday, you were doing puzzles and watching V5. Yeah, season 4 is probably the highlight of the series. It's really where everything really comes to a head, right? I won't spoil anything. But yeah, those are the best of times. All right, I need to rename this file. Yeah, I don't care about that. How's everyone doing over on the YouTube side? You're all a little quieter. I hope everyone's having a chill day. Sapphire, you definitely revealed some interesting. Oh yeah. It'll make you see things differently early in the series. That show is really good because they wrote the whole show pretty much all at once. There are so many things where you look back a season or two and you're like, oh, that's crazy. They laid down so many little breadcrumbs, and then you don't even get the you have to wait seasons to get the payoff, but they actually give you the payoff in a lot of the cases. It's great. It's like the opposite of modern TV. You know, the guys that made Lost, who also happened to make Game of Thrones. Those guys are like notorious. Damon Lindelof or whatever his name is, and whoever the other one is. Like these people who are notorious for like setting stuff up and then writing into a completely different direction, and you never get the payoff because nobody was ever thinking about what would happen like a season or two later. That's so often because no one knows if they're going to get the second season now because Netflix just cancels everything after one season or whatever, right? Yeah, you don't really get shows written like that anymore. Shows that confidently write out like 4 or 5 seasons worth of content and actually go through with it. Crazy. Yeah, you like the Sinclair return? That was great. Yeah, that's a huge turning point in like the story and like understanding how all the main characters work and relate to each other. Nanigans, right now you're refactoring all your code that converts Magica voxel files into optimized methods. Optimized meshes. Nice. Yeah, your tools for that are impressive. You shared a little bit about how those work. And it's very cool. You don't really get shows anymore. You get 6-part mini movies. I watched a miniseries with my partner last weekend called The Way We Live Now. It was so good. Such a good miniseries. That was more of like a period drama. Very different from what we talk about, but... Should you watch the movie to start the series, or should you watch it later? There is The Gathering, which is there's a correct answer to this, which is a film. That's the test pilot movie. If you can find it, I would watch The Gathering first. So if you can find Babylon 5 The Gathering, which is like the pilot. The Gathering is put as the last episode of season 1 for some reason. I don't totally agree with that, but that would also be fine. To watch it at the end of season 1. Nanigans, you want to clean it up and extract it out into a cleaner library so you can leverage the same code to add new things to your map by giving a list of vec3s where blocks should be and get a mesh back. I want to do that with my ECS and a bunch of stuff. I want to build those out. Right now they're all tightly coupled into the project, and I want to build them as packages. So we're going to do that at some point. Not now, but at some point we got to do that. I need to rewrite some stuff. All right, so we have our cursor hit list thing. What happens when the cursor hit list is empty is my question. Which is why I kind of wanted to have an access point here. So I'm a little concerned about how to convert that. Because what should happen, essentially... You watch The Gathering first. You don't like how Tubi did it? Okay. Yeah, watch The Gathering then. There's a separate, like, prequel movie they made that goes into, like, the background behind, like, the Minbari War and stuff. But that's, like... It's, like, technically a prequel, but, like, I wouldn't watch that early. I don't remember what that one's called. In the Beginning. So yeah, do not watch In the Beginning first. No one listens to Zathras. Hey, Rimas, exactly. It's okay. No one listens to Zathras. Zathras talk to dirt. Zathras talk to wall. But dirt closer. Everyone loves Zathras. How's it going, Rimas? I'm not gonna lie, the story, you're not at the end yet, so I'm not gonna spoil it, and some people are watching it, but like the character dynamic between Londo and Jakar, like their two stories and how they interrelate to each other and evolve over the course of the show is so incredible. I love it so much. I love Babylon 5. What am I doing? Oh yeah, I was trying to show what should happen. Let me erase all this. So what should happen, let me find the origin. So until we've placed a block, the cursor, if we're in edit mode, which this is edit mode, until we've placed a block, it should just be locked here. Like regardless of where the cursor is, if there are no blocks currently on the field, this should be the only thing. All you should be able to do is place a block at the origin. And then once you've placed a block at the origin, now you should be able to like build off of that. So it's kind of like an extensible, you should only really be able to build by extrusion. Like by building off of existing structures. Because that fits our requirements, which is to have like a single contiguous like block volume. You're not going to have any free-floating like blocks in space here. All right, I'm going to, while I figure out how I'm going to do that, let's catch up on the chat. Oh, the box set you're getting includes all the movies and even the spinoff Crusade. Is the spinoff any good? It's okay. I think it could have been fun, but they don't give it any room to breathe. Like right as it starts to get going, it just gets canceled. You just finished watching The Leftovers. It was a wild ride. Every episode something new was happening with old threads hanging unresolved. They kind of wrapped everything up at the end. You weren't satisfied with it. Yeah, that's the classic TV problem nowadays. Shenanigans, you've basically split your thing out into a general mesh library and a voxel library, and right now everything is broken until you finish the refactor. That's a refactor. That's how a refactor should go. Oh, thanks for the stretch, Sapphire. And the hydrate. The movies are all good. I haven't seen the new movie, which is like the animated one. I haven't seen that. But yeah, the movies are fun. They're not incredible, but it's like by the end of the show, you're like desperate for new content. All right, so I think the thing that makes sense for now is maybe to set these input objects maybe in this system. Maybe we have like cursor chords and like a cursor offset, maybe. Because yeah, I don't want everyone to be scrutinizing the cursor hit list right now. I think I would rather it be like we set these within. So like we should just reset these each time we run this. So we'll say. So let's go through this whole process, and then what we'll do is we'll say cursor hit list dot count. Oh, what's the difference between length and count? What the heck? Public int count gets the number of elements contained in the list. Oh, it is count. Okay, I see. That count is greater than 0. Then what we'll do is we will say hold on. Let's make this a switch statement. Or not a switch statement, but like a conditional. So we're going to be doing multiple things. We're going to say game.input.cursor chords equals cursor hit list. This is going to need to be more sophisticated than this, but I think it makes sense to do it here. .xyz. So, and then the game.input.cursor offset. I don't know if offset's the right word for it, but we could say nearby. Nearby. I think that's better than offset. Offset's not bad. But it lets us know like which face we're on, or which coordinate corresponds to the face that we're pointing at. I think I like offset better. Whatever. So if there is one, what we're going to do is we're going to say cursor hit list .w. So we need to get that, and we need to say, this is kind of stupid, but we're going to say block.get chords. We're going to say block.face. Look at that. There we go. Else game.input.cursor chords equals vector3i.0 game.input.cursor nearby vector3i.0. All right, this will be okay for now. Nearby or offset? Yeah, we're gonna call it offset. All right. Thanks, Magoo. Take it easy. Sapphire, thanks for recommending B5, by the way. You don't think you would have found it and watched it otherwise. You would have been missing out. It's a gem. It's a gem that is overlooked perpetually overlooked. People are always like, oh, watch Deep Space Nine. Oh, watch whatever. Babylon 5 is the great TV space opera of the 90s. That sounds very specific, but honestly, there are not a lot to choose from. Are you early enough to say bye to Magoo? Ah, nice. Hey, Arneo, how's it going? Happy Tuesday. All right, okay, so we've set our coordinates where both the cursor should be and where the cursor offset is. Maybe it's cursor block. And maybe it's like nearby block. Maybe what it should be. Who cares? Let's not do it right now. We could spend the rest of the stream arguing about names. We won't do it. I can agonize about that later. What we do need to do, let's start with the hover, because the hover and the place is like our bread and butter here. So let's focus on those. Select is going to work differently, so I'm a little concerned about how select is going to work. Arneo, maybe you should watch B5. You know it's heresy, but you kind of got bored of the Star Trek reboot. You should watch B5. As long as you're not allergic to, like, old CGI. I've been watching TNG in, like, the full restoration. It's so good looking. It looks like it was shot yesterday. Because they were able to remaster all the effects from the original film. We will never get that with Babylon 5, unfortunately. All of the effects were you could remaster the film, like the physical scenes of people, but you would need to redo the effects completely from scratch. The effects were shot directly onto, like, standard definition. Shame. Arguing about names. How about Bob? Bob is good. We've done that. We have spent whole streams just arguing about the names of variables. I would like to have this new block thing in place. So I'm going to just delete this, and we are going to see what happens. Should I just pull this at the top of... No, we don't need to pull anything. Right. So we can get rid of all of this. The conversion to the absolute is kind of important, and I need to remember that. I need to remember that we have to do that, or things are going to break. Maybe we can do that relatively easily. Random Journey, you didn't name me, but you did mention the naming episode to another game dev today. He was getting stuck on naming a variable. Yeah. Arneo, a lot of good shows came out end of last year. You binged them too fast. Yeah, I still need to start. I need to start catching up on the new Fallout season. I'll probably watch an episode tonight, maybe, while I eat dinner. I don't know, though. I'm on the first holodeck episode for TNG, and that's such a good one. It was raining in the city by the bay. All right, so we're going to skip all of this, concerningly. We're going to say game.input.cursor chords. Actually, for hover, what should hover do? I guess in this mode, hover should do the cursor offset. Let's start with the cursor offset. If block eraser mode. Okay, so the eraser mode. Well, hold on a second. So I need to change this nesting. I need to say else if. And then I need to put this conditional here. So this needs to be game.input.cursor coordinates. This needs to be cursor offset. Oop. Move this in here. Game.input.cursor offset. Because when you erase, you want to erase from the actual block, but when you place, you want to place onto the offset. My 300th episode special should be bike shedding and arguing about names. I mean, that's every episode, though, Nanigans. Hey, the dad walking. Hello, fellow sci-fi enjoyer. That is me. Hey, Alex, what's up? Did you miss anything? No, we've just been talking about Babylon 5 and doing some refactoring. How's everyone doing today? Nanigans, in refactoring your voxel code, you're finding so many dumb mistakes you made. Like this gem, variable W equals 1, variable H equals 1. And a few dozen lines later. Ah, okay. These variables never get reassigned. So those little loops literally do nothing. You gotta have a nice loop that does nothing. You read sci-fi as well? Not as much, not as much. I'm not a big fiction reader. When I read, it's usually really stuffy, dry stuff like history or like whatever, like quote unquote literary criticism or whatever. I don't know. I don't know what to call it. I am trying to read more this year, but I like reading old history books and stuff. What have you been enjoying? Dad walking. Best sci-fi is in book form. That's probably true, honestly, because there's stuff you can achieve in the theater of the mind that is not possible. Oh, prior bounds here actually depends on which of these things I'm doing. I actually don't totally understand how I'm going to use prior bounds with this new model, but let's try this here. Oh, wait, do we set the bounds either way? We kind of do, huh? This is a bit of a problem. I guess we hit this either way. What should I do otherwise? I'm a little concerned about that. It's possible that we don't reassign the prior bounds. Right now, you're on one called A Fire Upon the Deep by Werner Ving. A++. Nice, nice. Rhiannon Journey, you're starting to dip back to your toes. You're starting to dip your toes back into sci-fi after close to 20 years of mostly fantasy. Oh, nice. You enjoyed Pandora's Star and Judas Unchained. You're gonna hijack this question and recommend Expanse. You got super into it last year. Yeah, I didn't read The Expanse. I really liked season 1 of the show. I started liking it less, but I should probably go back and watch it just for research, quote unquote. For the clipboard, this should be game.input.cursor chords. All right, where are the rest of the errors? Okay, the errors are here on the place, and the errors are also in the select. All right, the not converting it into absolute coordinates is going to be a huge problem. I don't have to worry about it right now, but it is going to be a huge problem. Also, I need to remove the coordinates from the inputs. Man, I wrote this whole vector parsing code. I'm never going to use it. That's okay. You can never go wrong with The Expanse. Sapphire, one of your favorite books movies so far is The Martian. You love both the movie and the book. You personally think they really did a good job turning it into a movie. Stay true to the book. I'll have to check that out. I never actually watched that. I don't use this projection anymore. I should probably just stop. I don't use that anywhere. I'm just going to get rid of it. If we bring it back, we'll bring it back right. All right, continue. I'm not sure about that cursor bounds assignment at the end there. Fire on the Deep. A Fire Upon the Deep is pretty unique. It deals with like zones of thought. Ooh. Where there are zones in our galaxy where FTL are possible, but also where light is slower than our current known form. Interesting. It's the backdrop to a story about children marooned on a planet with group mind, wolf-like aliens stuck in the medieval age. In a rescue mission seeking to get them and an antidote to a malevolent AI expanding throughout the galaxy. That sounds wild. Try the Culture series by Ian M. Banks. They're super fun. Their AIs are some of the best characters in the series. Ooh, that's nice. It's got to be tough to write like a good AI. You have to capture some of their alienness. I thought David was really compelling from Prometheus. Select is game.input.cursor chord. So we don't want the offset when we're doing a selection. I feel like I'm gonna have to rewrite this whole system. This is like the original system that we used. Oop, not bounds. Awards. Why does that just get replaced with an empty bounding box? That's concerning. That's that. I don't think this is going to work, but, you know, we're going to try it. We're also heading back into ads. Hold on to your ads, everybody. Player of Games is a classic by Ian M. Banks. Ian M. Banks was a great author, blended optimism, imagination, and humor very well. Oh, that's nice. That's nice. Yeah, I don't know. I should read some sci-fi. I think if I was gonna read some, I'd want to check out what was his name? I want to read some Harlan Ellison stuff. I know he like was really defined a lot of direction of early Star Trek. I'm kind of interested in what other stuff he wrote. Very active in the 60s. All right, well, let's see what happens. I'm going to run this during the ads, so when it crashes, I'm less embarrassed. Ideally, what it should do is it should lock the cursor. You could see that. That's good. Cursor is locked. And then if I place a block, we crash. Oh, we're still parsing stuff. When is that? Oh, I have to fix the instruction order. We have to strip the component, the coordinates out. To strip the coordinates out of the input handler. That's all we'll do for now. I had to explain to someone yesterday why I do it, why I handle my input this way. It's not great. It's because of the barrier between Godot and our C# domain. I'm trying to be very precise when we communicate across this boundary. And because the input handler, the GDScript generally doesn't understand any of the data structures that I'm using on the C# side. And so, like, I can't just build... I'd have to maintain the data structures in multiple places, and I generally don't want to do that. So I'm just building our inputs out as these arrays of strings, and then we're parsing them to direct the inputs movement through the entity component system process. It's kind of like almost like a dead reckoning system that we use, where like there's communication back and forth, but it's very blind. Oh, hey, LSDev. Streamer casually mentions author of I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream. Yeah, see, I didn't even know that. I assume you're talking about Harlan Ellison. It'd be cool to have a cheaper interface between GDScript and C# and Godot. It would. How's it going, LSDev? Happy New Year. Oh yeah, that was their short story. Neat. Yeah, I want to read. I should just get like a compilation of his works. Just read through that. You hate ads, Alex? I'm sorry. Ads are rough. I'm allergic to ads when they're on like TV and stuff. Like when I was at home for the holidays and I was like hanging out with my parents. And they just watch TV still, like regular TV with ads and everything. I'm like, I'm dying. Track camera coord. I guess we can keep doing that. Right. I think that is all the coordinates. If you want a really great short story by one of the goats, check out The Last Question by Asimov. I should. I tend to like the OGs in these various fields. I like to. It's part of the reason why I like really old history and philosophy and like natural science and stuff. I love hearing like how people formulated these thoughts before they had any examples. Because it's like if I go to write a sci-fi story, I'm writing it atop this enormous body of work. And I like hearing how people do it from like quote unquote first principles. Which is why I think I gravitate towards more like the old school. You love that old school retro sci-fi? The aesthetics and writing style is just cozy for you? Yeah, I want to check some of that stuff out. I should also get a compilation of like Asimov or something. Oh, it's like one of my favorite tracks. I'm going to shut up and we're going to chill to this for a minute. Okay, my cursor is gone now for some reason. Oh, I removed... Oh, shoot. Okay, so we do need to keep track of the coordinates a little bit because I have a system to prevent spam. So we have to consider that a little bit. This is a little broken, but that's okay. Alex, you forgot to mention you did submit a game for the Solo Dev New Year Game Jam. Nice. That's exciting. You should post in the Discord if you haven't. I would love to give it a try. A ship is a ship. No matter how Jack Sparrowed the condition. Wise words, Arneo. Alright, so we're gonna start seeing a conflict here with these coordinates. But we're just gonna make it work for right now. There's a camera tracking. Yeah, that should be fine. Weird that didn't crash with all these errors. But... All right, let's see what we get now. You would have put it in the Discord? You don't feel like it's worth it? You said really janky game. I mean, I think you should be proud of it, but I can understand. Okay, so we placed that block. So what is this? Why is this changing as I go up, down? It should only change as I go left, right. But we should be able to, like, place now. Okay, now what's happening? Okay, that's kind of right. Not exactly, though. Okay, well, now everything's broken. What's happened here? No errors. Okay, so there's a logical error somewhere. So to the cursor mapping system. Why did this behave so crazily? But we are locking it to 0.
Most illogical.
Oh, we're locking it to 0, but we're looking at the tile mapping .z. So we're still setting a clockwise. But wait, z is the x. That shouldn't be changing. It is most illogical. The Discord needs variety. Get that stuff in there before you spam more ships, Sarnio. That's funny. I think it's great. I didn't have time to participate in this jam. I would have liked to. I think our next jam is going to be in March. No, I get it, Alex. Sometimes I finish my jam game and I'm not happy with it. If you do any post jam and you get it to a place where you do feel like sharing it, I would love to play it either way. But I get it. All right. So this Z is flickering in a weird way. So we're getting the initial thing, which I like, which is it's locked to 0. And then once I placed it, so this is also being weird. So this is this part's working. So if I place this, so why doesn't this work though? I can't. Oh, it's doing something weird. Why doesn't it work there? Can I place that? Now what? Can I not place any more blocks now? I might end up wanting something that like locks us to like the closest block. That's like kind of a lot. So for some reason I can't select. Oh, because we're only getting the top, right? And this is getting locked to 0. Oh, it can't be locked to 0. It needs to be locked to -1. Otherwise, I can't select the origin. Oh, wait. No, I can. Huh. Okay, things are weird. I don't know why it's not letting me extend any further than this. I don't understand what's happening there. Weird. You want a playable demo by tomorrow? The issue is you don't know what to do post-jam to fix it. Oh, that can be tough. You might just need some time. I mean, I'm sure the people playing it will give you some feedback. All right, so what do we think is happening here? So for one thing, I'm gonna try doing this. It's probably gonna crash because we're not doing any bounds checking, even though we should be. There should be some inherent bounds checking in the indexing. There isn't, is there? Oh, it's the clamp. 0 cannot be greater than -1. Yeah, I get that. Why is that a problem here? Oh, is it because the min is 0, the max is... Oh, so I need to just set that to be the min. Okay. Okie doke. Where are we doing that clamp? max. Should this just be a clamp and not a max? We should clamp it like this. I think max was the wrong choice. I think this is better. I'm in a static context. How? This is very much not a static context. All right, yeah, you got some stuff lined up. You're gonna polish a bit. There's a prototype intercept missile. You're dying to share. You made it kind of by accident, and it needs more tuning. That's cool. That's very cool. Okay, so this is being weird. I like this idea of having to build off of stuff that's already there, but it's not recognizing it very well. Also, why does it think that this is a static context? Like, what do you mean? Oh, that's not static. That's I take a vow. I see. I misunderstood. So this should be cursor coords equals this dot clamp between this and block space maximum XY. Okay, that might work for that part. You can fire missiles that chase the mouse. That's kind of cool. Okay, the clamp still didn't work. What's going on here? Max, -1, 0. 0 cannot be greater than -1. No, I understand that. Oh, it's down here. While cursor coords plus spiral pattern whatever is equal to this. I see. You know, I'm going to live with this for now. I see the problem. I don't want to deal with it. So we're just going to make this 0. You got to go. It's nice talking. Yeah. Good luck with the game. Thank you. Thank you for the follow. Thanks for hanging out today. Hope to see you around. We do like talking about sci-fi. Hopefully we'll see you. Okay, why are these my only choices? And in fact, I need to be able to place stuff on top of this. We're having some issues around the boundaries, around the lower boundary. Luckily, I have a few hours tonight to kind of think this through. This is our first new kind of input system in a while. And it's clearly scuffed. So what's going on here? So I think the problem is maybe down here. So if the hit list count is greater than 0, coordinates is whatever is at the end, and the offset is whatever face. Get the chords. Oh, it can't just be that. It has to be this. No, it can be this. This plus this. I'm dumb. All right, we should at least be able to build out across. I'm not quite sure about vertically, but we should be able to do like, we build that, we should be able to place another. Okay, that's not quite right. So that's right. That's not. I also can't do it over there anymore. Interesting. Can build there. Okay, now I can build here. Why does that behave that way? There's like gaps in where it's letting me do my thing. This is going to be awesome when it's working. What if I try to place like a grill, like a grid of things? Okay, it doesn't really want me to do that. Interesting. Interesting how it thinks about this. Okay, this is kind of working now here. It's behaving really weird when it's nearly empty. It's also not letting me... There's no Z anything. So the offset for some of these should be up, but it's not showing me that at all. It's not giving me that option. And it's behaving weird when there's a gap. It's behaving very weird. Totally understand. Rhiannon Journey, you're stuck on your game now. You have simple combat with a slime monster that chases you. Farming with tiling, watering, and crops that grow over time. Simple day-night cycle. You're playing Plate Up right now to get some cooking game inspiration. It's making you reconsider doing it in 3D. Plate Up is pretty good. I like Plate Up a lot. So it's 2D right now. What would you want from a 3D version? So block dot face. Is there a conversion problem here? 1, 2, 3. Get coords. Face. Vector 3i.y, vector 3i.z. Yeah, this should work. Yeah, you're playing a lot of Stardew and Dave the Diver when you first started the idea. Because mechanically, Plate Up is 2D. There's no height involved. So it would just be like, it would be more of an aesthetic thing. All right, so cursor offset is game.input.cursor coords plus. So it grabs the top of the hit list. I might need to scrutinize the hit list a little bit here. I think these are input-output problems. I think the process for developing the block hit list here, I think is correct. I think your main concern now is kit bashing assets together. That is definitely way harder in 2D than 3D. I think in 3D, kit bashing is a lot easier because you can do a lot You can do a lot to kind of unify the look of different 3D assets. Like I've done that in all my 3D jam games, usually through post-processing and stuff. Like I either de-res it or, you know, Mini Delivery, we de-resed it down to like a PS1 style game. And then in Grave Escape, we just black and white filtered everything. You should probably keep going in 2D, just work on mechanics. Then if you want to move through to 3D, you can. Yeah, it sounds like you would be able to switch generally. I would just make sure that you've separated the gameplay mechanics from the rendering component to an extent. Like if your game is tile-based, then you would use tile map layers to like communicate like the grid stuff, mechanics and everything. And then you could swap out the rendering stuff. You could switch styles and then a lot of your gameplay stuff would still, like the gameplay logic can be stable and written in a way that's kind of rendering agnostic. You can't imagine moving from 2D to 3D being simple. If the game mechanics are 2D, because like Played Up is like just on an isometric 2D plane, even though all the graphics are 3D. So from a mechanical standpoint, you can still have your game work the same way. Yeah, this is dumb. I don't know what's going wrong here. Cursor coords, game.input.tilemapping.xy.clamp 2i.0. I think the clamping is causing me some problems, maybe. Blockspace.maximum.xy. Okay, so we do this for the initial one. I need to be able to access the negative coordinates behind. I need to figure out a way to do that. Like at least I need to at least be able to do -1, 1. Otherwise, I'm going to have some problems. But right now, it's not working even when I'm lifting it to 0, 0. All right, take it easy, Sapphire. Go lay down for a minute. Yeah, we'll see. 3 hours later. Take it easy. Brandon, you're still prototyping a lot. The next thing you need to prototype is the cooking systems. You can probably continue prototyping in 2D, see if everything will work together in a fun way, then make the choice between 2D, 3D. Yeah. Yeah, it sounds like mechanically what you're trying to do is very stable. It'll be more of an aesthetic thing. Oh, this is a cute song. Very Stardew. Oh, it's a kalimba. I like those. We're gonna like this track. You know what I need to start doing soon is actually start working on some sound, some music. I want to start playing around with audio ambience. Because I'm going to need a lot of practice to be able to do it well. And I don't have any. That's going to be huge, especially for Lo-Fi Flyby, our like little side project. So is there, am I just skipping the Z? Is that what's happening? 0, 1, 0, 1, 2, 0, 1, 2. index plus 1 is less than spiral pattern dot length, which should always be 3. There's something preventing us from, like... Well, I don't think the problem is actually here. The problem is this offset. Base cursor hit list that dot w. Yeah, we're never hitting priority 2, so we're never locking into the Z face of a block, which means we're never going to get an offset that's above the current set of blocks. I have to figure that out. Yeah, what's with this gap? What's going on with this gap here? Like, this is reasonable. Whoa. You know, this is probably has to do with prior coordinates or something. There's probably something weird happening. It's very possible that the problem is not in the cursor mapping, but it's actually in the block sculpting system. It's very possible. This is all behaving very strangely. Like, this shouldn't look like that. Also, this shouldn't be able to happen. Yeah, there's blocks. It's thinking that blocks exist that don't exist, because this should not be doable. There's something weird going on here. I have to figure that out. This is going to be good, though, when we have like a kind of little raycasting system. So at some point, this should figure out, because the way this should work is that when we select the priority thing, we should start here. So like if our cursor's here on the left side of this tile, we should add this block, and we should add this block, and then this block. And when we add this block, if this block exists, our focus is on the Z face, which is the upward face. Hold on a second. Yeah, and that's how that should work. So if there is a block here and we've got our cursor over the tile behind it, and there's a block in front of it, this should be the focus block, and our offset should be above. And we should be able to place a block above. Very strange that that's not working. Probably need to slow down and debug it a little more. That said, I think I'm going to do that tonight because I'm running out of time. I gotta get some laundry going before I got a meeting. But still good progress for today. We've definitely got some hang-ups, but we'll fix that. We'll figure it out. This has been fun, though. Again, nice to see everyone over on the YouTube side. I know you're on the quieter side, but hope you're enjoying yourselves. Yeah. Thanks for the stream. No, thank you. Thanks everyone who shows up here. This was a good stream. You say that every stream, Nix, but I'll believe you every time. But yeah, we'll be back tomorrow for our typical Wednesday stream here. Same time, hopefully. Yeah, because it's true. All right, I believe you. Every stream is 10 out of 10. You're killing me. Let's turn it up to 11 tomorrow. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you all have a great rest of your day. And I will see you all next time. Bye.
Maximum warp.